Imagine being a 5-year-old boy, separated from your family, lost on the streets of Calcutta, India. Then being adopted out to an Australian family, growing up in a whole other world. And then as you live that life, knowing that your biological family is probably spending every day of their lives looking for you. I'm Garth Davis, and I want to take you on a closer look at this special film, Lion, the true story of Saroo Brierley and his quest to find his biological family 25 years later.
Saroo? I'm not from Calcutta. I'm lost.
Quite a few years ago, I remember quite distinctly reading the article as to the story of Saroo Brierley, and I cut that story out because I thought it would make a good film, and so did a number of other people.
Saroo's story is such an almost unbelievable true story. I mean, you couldn't make something up that's better than this. It's so extraordinary, and it has all of the stuff of great cinema. It has adventure and peril. It traverses continents. It travels across time. It's a deeply, deeply emotional story.
I think what grabs people about this story is that it taps into something so primal in us as human beings. The need to find home, the need to find your birth mother, the need to know who you are. Everybody has something buried in their past that they maybe haven't had the courage to go for and to sort of unearth. And that's what Saroo does. You know, he's an Australian guy, well-adjusted, sporty, but he just knew there was this part missing and he just went for it and didn't give up.
Writing the book was, you know, I had to take a bit of thought about it, as in this is a personal story. And for a long time, it wasn't a personal story to be told to anyone, let alone the world. And I had a little talk to my parents about it, and you know, they said, yeah, you should tell this unique, profound story because everyone thinks it's amazing.
I first met Saroo when we were in the US, and I was just really taken by how family-orientated he was on both levels, both with his Australian family and with his family, his birth family back in India. And he just seemed like somebody who was surprised that this journey of his had captured the public's imagination.
When I found out there was going to be a film about my life, I was like really ecstatic. I really didn't know what to say. Everything just sort of had to, was going through my mind from, you know, finding my mother and book rights and so on. But I just thought in my head this would be great visually to show people what I went through.
Imagine if one of us had discovered that we were adopted and there was this past. What would we do? How would we unearth it? And Saroo takes us on that journey.
Have you heard of this new program, Google Earth? It's incredible. You can find any place from anywhere.
Listen to me. We can find out how fast passenger trains went back then. We take that speed, multiplied by the hours that you were on the train. That's it. We create a search radius.
It's a primal story. Loss of the mother and reunification with the mother. Like at a sort of mythic level, it's amazing. But at an actual human level of this happened to this kid, it's also amazing.
It's like a great Greek story, or it's like an Odyssey. You're just starting with this beautiful family, this beautiful boy, and then you end up in Australia and you end up with this guy finding home on a computer.
This, for me, is a film about courage, belief and hope. A young man who is unwaverable and nothing will stop him from finding his family. This term is thrown around a lot, a needle in a haystack. He literally is searching for a woman in a country of billions of people.
Do you have any idea what it's like knowing my real brother and mother spend every day of their lives looking for me? I have to find home. They need to know I'm okay.
It's a real story, which is incredible, and it's so hopeful and so beautiful, and people are going to be incredibly moved by.
We knew that casting the role of little Saroo was going to be the most difficult. It's such a young character. He's only 5 years old.
We did a big open casting call in 3 cities in India, in Delhi, in Calcutta and in Mumbai. Once we had a list of probably a few hundred, we then put Garth on a plane over to India, and he spent a couple of weeks there actually in workshops with these kids.
We were totally over the moon when we found Sonny. Garth had been looking at possible young Saroos for quite a while. We had auditioned hundreds, if not thousands, of possible actors for that role.
Could Sonny try that again, but just with a softer voice? Okay. There really was no one else. Seriously, I just kept coming back to this kid. I go, this is Saroo. Like, this is him. He could just sit in the room, the camera's on him, and you just got lost in his story and his face, and you loved him, and there was something interesting going on.
An unbelievable discovery, pure, raw emotion. You don't see that often in child actors, but he's a very special kid.
Looking back, it's unbelievable the challenge that was offered to Sonny. It's a huge role and it's full of emotion, and it's a very adventurous journey that Saroo goes on. So for a 5-year-old to play that complex emotional journey, to pull it off like he has, it's just been quite amazing to watch.
Yes. Smart boy.
Dev Patel does an incredible job at the older Saroo. It's something to come into a role where you know that you have to take that journey through its final stages. And Dev brings all of that passion and vulnerability to that journey.
Dev really wanted to play Saroo. He was tracking the project from very, very early on.
I think I read about it in LA a couple years ago. I heard that they were turning it into a movie, and I met Luke and Garth.
We were still writing, and he pulls up at Luke's house in his car, walks in, "Hi, I'm Dev."
They actually had storyboards on the wall, and they were planning out scenes together, and I popped in, had some wonderful ginger tea that Luke makes, and we sat down and just spoke about the project. It was really early on, and I was really excited about it.
To be honest, there was nothing that he'd done before that was what I was expecting this film to be. So I said to him, look, I'm going to go on a casting. I have to just see, I have to do the process.
I think it was almost a year later when I was doing another film in London. I got the call to audition for Garth, and he put me through my paces.
I just wanted to see how far I could push Dev. He won it fair and square. His performance was beyond.
When we cast Dev, Garth was focused on making sure that Dev had a physical presence that we haven't seen before in other movies.
Garth gave me a call and said, "You're not allowed to cut your hair anymore, and we're going to put some more weight on you to make you a bit more Aussie."
So born in Australia?
Yeah. No, Calcutta.
I've got family in Calcutta. My cousins are quite bad.
Which part? I'm adopted, I'm not really Indian.
We did make a real Aussie out of Dev. He did an unbelievable job of the accent. In fact, in all of the test screenings that we've done, people have asked, is he actually Australian? Or exclaimed that they didn't realise he was Australian, but he's not Australian, he's British. He really did transform himself in every way.
He worked very hard. I think he weight trained for like 4 months. He's an absolute professional, and he gave his heart and soul to this film.
I've been visiting her. Every night I'll walk those streets home. Home from the dam. Home from the station. And I know every single step of the way.
It's been so nourishing. I don't think I've done a project so transformative ever. I really became at one with the material by the end of it, and that was really through Garth really being the most, the best guide through this journey.
Yeah, I think it was a life-changing experience. Look, typical Dev Patel, when Rooney Mara or Nicole Kidman arrive, he goes, "Oh my God, they're like proper actors." And I just look at him going, "Come on, mate, it's all right." And then one day we did a scene with Dev where he was actually like absolutely astounding. And I rang him up and said, "Mate, you're a proper actor."
And the Actor International Award for Best Supporting Actor goes to Dev Patel, Lion.
It's just been so fun to sort of watch him transform so much through this film physically and I think also emotionally a little bit. And he's really, I think, really special actor.
We knew we had a big story on our hands and so wanted to make sure that this felt like a big movie, that it felt like an international film, that it was incredibly emotional and that did emotional justice to the story, but at the same time, you know, had an authenticity and a truth to it.
It may be in our master shot, we get him to come over to Australia.
Garth Davis was with us at the Sundance Film Festival when we were showing Top of the Lake there. And the minute we heard about the story, we just couldn't help thinking that Garth would be an incredible director for it.
When we told this story anecdotally to Garth, there was such a human and strong response from him in terms of how he could visualize and how he could approach the story.
This is his first feature, which is quite incredible when you look at it and how amazingly assured he is as a director.
He has put every single ounce of himself into this film. He's given it everything and he brings his A game every single day. He's very up and very confident and very generous of spirit and enthusiastic.
I think being in the hands of someone like Garth, you know you're in good hands, and Garth had a very particular take on what the film was about and what he wanted to say in terms of putting this into the world. I mean, he's very connected really to his own spirit and his own family and his own way in which he tells stories, and I think you feel that humanity. I mean, he has a huge compassion. His compassion for the children and his ability to direct those children who were not actors and got spectacular performances from them.
गुड्डू, मैं भी आ सकता हूँ।
छोटा है तू, तुझे कुछ नहीं आ सकता। मुझे जाने दे।
मैं कुछ भी उठा सकता हूँ।
सरू, तुझे बोला ना मैं, वहाँ पे रात भर काम करना पड़ता है। तू नहीं आएगा। चल जा, छोटा है तू जा। सरू रहने दे। ये तो।
तब मैं उठा सकता हूँ।
He's managed to take a story that fundamentally is fantastic. It's a boy finding home. But he's managed to give it depth and a lot of clarity because there's so many different angles one can take on a story like this. That Garth has found a path and a direction, and he's given it such beauty and underlying humanness that audiences will find it incredibly sad but very uplifting.
Hello there.
Hello. Yeah, that's for you. This is
Mummy and
Dad.
And we're so happy to meet you.
When I was hanging out with the real Sue Brierley, it just dropped into me going, it's Nicole Kidman. I don't know why, there's something going on here. And serendipitously, as we were going off casting around the world, we had a note saying that Nicole had managed to get her hands on the script, read it, and she's very keen to talk.
And I was really moved. I mean, it's one of those things that you start reading and then you just can't put it down. And I love, you know, obviously that the woman was Australian because I don't get to play Australians that often.
She knew everything about Sue in the way that I knew it. She had a lot of her own private things that related.
She's got such a unique way of looking at the world and existing in the world, and I was very honoured to be asked to play her, actually.
She truly is a very special woman, an adoptive mother also, so I couldn't have wished for anyone pleasure. I've always loved her work and we are very close now and I am really enjoying that too.
So you've come a long way, haven't you? Little one. I'm sure it hasn't been easy. And one day you'll tell me all about it.
For me, it was like stars aligning, and I thought, wow, look out. You know, she's going to just knock this out of the park.
There's only one path for me. And that's how I think it. That's how this happened, because when I was 12, I had a vision.
She performs with soul and heart, and she completely embodies Sue in every way, this woman who's trying to control this family that's falling apart.
She was really brave in these performances. Yeah, she's kind of wild to watch. She just really commits to the character and takes a while for her to come out of it, and I found it fascinating to watch her.
Go easy on me, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Mom, ready?
Feel the tension. Here he comes. Come on, mate, send it down. Oh, Bruce Barney.
Yeah!
Go, Saroo. Well, Brian's taking it away. Yes, she's out.
The sense of place is so important to this movie. India is so important as a character, Kandwa, Calcutta, and he lands in Hobart.
The people of Hobart have such a, such a deep connection to this story, and they're so proud of it. They're so proud of Saroo. And it was really nice for our on-screen cast to spend some time with their real-life counterparts and filmed in some of the most beautiful locations in the world.
I think it's a part of the world that we just haven't quite discovered internationally how extraordinary it is. And through Garth and Greg's eye and lens, it just comes to life.
It's a filmmaker's paradise. Everything that's on the water and the hills, the bridges and the massive mountain next to Hobart, I mean, it was a character in itself.
We were naturally a bit nervous when we knew we were going to be mounting a shoot in India. We never shot in India before, and we'd heard stories about how complex shooting in India is.
I have an addiction to shooting really complicated locations. It's just not every day you get a camera up into some of these worlds.
Part of the problem with shooting in India, everybody sees a camera and it becomes a magnet. So the instant you pull a camera out, everybody just crowds around the camera, either blocks the camera or looks at the camera, which is all things that you don't want. You end up losing the natural beauty of a place like that.
So we've had cameras hidden in big hand-pushed carts with cameramen hiding in them so that people don't look at the camera or even realise that it's there.
What the hides did is they just helped people not fully recognise that we're a film crew. They were able to get us into certain heights and certain positions that we never ever would have been able to get without people staring at us.
Some of the biggest days so far in Calcutta have been the days where we've been filming on trains or in Howrah Station. Howrah is at the main terminus in Calcutta. Calcutta is a city of 20 million people. So when we're there, sometimes we have control over a particular part of the station, and other times we're just in there with the throng.
I think closing the Howrah Bridge was a bit of a highlight.
It's a big landmark for Saroo. It's a huge steel bridge like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and it had never ever been closed before for a film.
Big idea, big vision, big production challenge. We all pull it off and we get these spectacular moments for the story, and I think that's very satisfying for everybody.
We had a great team of people in India, and in the end, as crazy and chaotic as it was, it was, I think, one of the great experiences.
Watching fully the whole movie, you know, my claws were digging into the seat because, you know, you're on the edge right through the movie. Very emotional. You felt the feeling as a little kid being lost in India.
It is a spine-tingling story. It's an incredible story about technology. It's an incredible story about mothers, about finding home. I think it also gives you an insight into the lives of these children who've been adopted, what their life was like beforehand. And hopefully it really helps push Western countries more towards the benefits and needs for adoption, that you really are saving a child's life.
Oh, it was amazing. I was so touched, and yeah, the reason we came is because we're social workers and Bianca works in adoption, and it was just so beautiful to see this side of the story. It was lovely.
I would say ultimately the film is, you know, so much about the power of mothers, whether they're biological or adopted, and the need for a mother and the way in which we can all mother different people at different times.
It's a rare movie whereby at some point people say that they love each other. To see the mother-son thing play out in that kind of emotional depth is really moving. And I think this movie just reminds people of what's important. It's all about family, it's all about love, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day.
It's an amazing story. We're both mothers. We have been through extraordinary happy times, sad times with our own families, and I think it's all just pouring out. Phenomenal, phenomenal. We're just so thrilled.
This is one of those films, when I saw it, I just knew that it would just resonate with so many people. It's a rare film that captures a feeling of love and connection, and the performances are so strong and so real. It's just a very honest film, which doesn't come around very often.
It's an inspiring movie. It's fantastic, and it's true life, isn't it? And that's what more people should be doing, what these people did as well.
He went through almost half of India to find his mother, and it just is technically incredible and astounding that this person could do this and had the commitment and perseverance and dedication to do so. But also it just shows the depth of the human souls and what we'll do for each other. So I love it. It's a total underdog story, you know, and yeah, it's triumphant. Yeah, I hope people are inspired.
I feel very humbled and proud to have made Lion and to share with you Saroo's inspirational journey. It's a beautiful Australian story that audiences have fallen in love with, and one that stays in your heart. The extended edition of Lion, with over 4 hours of special presentation, is available on digital April 19th, and to buy or rent on DVD and Blu-ray May the 3rd. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
I don't usually cry in movies, but I'm not gonna lie, I did shed a tear.
My heart's still beating. It was just so moving. It was unbelievably moving.
It was phenomenal. Just an incredible story.
There's so many directions this film can lead people, and they just need to follow their hearts.